Morning, everybody. Today we are discussing the next topic of the nuclear chemistry, that is the nuclear force. We know that the nucleus is made up of the protons and neutrons, and they are existing in a very small area in the order of 1 to 3 fermimeter. So naturally there is a repulsive force is existing between the protons inside the nucleus. See here, the protons and protons repel inside the nucleus, and this repulsive force is an electrostatic force. So according to this according to the repulsive force, the nucleus must be an unstable one. But we know that the nucleus is highly stable. That means there is an extra force is operating between the nucleons inside the nucleus, and this extra force is known as the nuclear force. And there are some of the characteristics for this nuclear force. The first one is nuclear force is not an electrostatic force. That means it is independent of the charge on the nucleons. See here, the nuclear force is operating between the protons to neutrons and neutrons to neutrons and neutrons to protons and protons to protons. That means there is no this nuclear force is independent of the charge, and it is not an electrostatic in nature. The third property is it is a short range force. That means it is existing within a very small distance between 1 to 3 fermimeter, and the nucleus attract only the neighboring nucleons. That means it will attract only the immediate vicinity of the nucleon which is inside the nucleus, which is only operating inside the nucleus. See here, the proton will attract neighboring neutrons and neighboring the next neutron which is diagonally placed to this proton, and similarly the proton which is neighbor to the proton. It is represented by the yellow arrow mark. So these are the general characteristic of a nuclear force which is existing inside the nucleus. And we know that the nucleus is highly stable. That means this nuclear force is exceeding the electrostatic repulsive force existing between the proton. That's why the nucleus is highly stable. And why this nuclear force is existing, and what is the mechanism, and how this nuclear force is existing between the nucleon, that is the next topic. The famous scientist the Yukawa proposed a meson field theory for explaining this nuclear force which is existing inside the nucleus. So according to him, there is a small particle known as the mesons are exchanging between the nucleons. And this there are three different type of the mesons: positively charged meson, negatively charged mesons, and neutral mesons. And the mesons is represented by the pi. And mesons is otherwise known as pions. And how these mesons are exchanged between the nucleons. So according to Yukawa, the positively charged proton is converted to the positively charged proton by exchanging a neutral mesons. Similarly, the neutron is converted to neutron by exchanging the neutral mesons. See here, the proton is converted to proton by exchanging the neutral mesons, and similarly the neutron is converted to neutron by exchanging the neutral mesons. But what about the conversion of the proton to neutron? We know that the proton is positively charged, and this proton, if it emit the positively charged mesons, it will convert it to neutron. So what about the reverse process? The neutron accept one positively charged mesons and converted to proton. these are the mechanism which is operating between the conversion of the proton to neutron and neutron to proton. Similarly, while we are converting neutron to proton, the neutral neutron will accept one positively charged mesons and convert it to proton. So what about the reverse process? The proton, positively charged proton, accept one negatively charged mesons and converted to neutral neutron. So these are the exchange process which is existing between the nucleons, and the theory was first proposed by the Yukawa, and the theory is known as the meson field theory. Because of this exchange mechanism is the major reasons of the nuclear force which is existing inside the nucleus. Because of this nuclear force, the nucleus is highly stable, and this nuclear force is exceeds the repulsive electrostatic force which is existing between the nucleons in the nucleus. Thank you.